Today, I'm so excited because I'm going to be sharing with you the 4 steps that you need to decorate any tree. No matter what your style is, what decor you have to put on it, this will work for everybody with every tree. I'm going to be sharing with you 4 different trees, 4 different styles, so let's get to it. The very first step in doing this is to start with your tree topper. And the reason why is because that is what you are building everything off of. No matter what your topper is, you can do a star, an angel, a bow, a snowman hat like I have here, or a combination of things like I have a word that I'm gonna put on this tree as well as some sprays. Anything you wanna do, you just wanna start with that top of the tree and we're gonna work our way down. Like I mentioned, you can do anything for your tree topper, and I said I was going to be using this word joy along with some sprays. Now, I picked this up at Hobby Lobby, and I did change out the bells for these more coppery gold bells. They came with silver bells, and this entire tree will be red, gold, and white. Now, while you're securing your topper, you want to make sure that you use either the branches from your tree, or you can use a wire or pipe cleaner if you want to. I love using the branches from the tree because it just makes it really easy. And as you can tell, this is ready to go up because it just keeps dinging while I'm holding it. So I want to place this fairly high up in the tree, and then I'm going to push some of the branches through it and then secure it down with some of the branches as well. Get in here. There we go. For the sprays here, I have 3 different ones. When I'm looking at sprays, I like to go with different colors and textures. Again, I mentioned that this tree was going to be red, white, and gold. Now, this is just a soft, creamy color, not quite a gold by any stretch of the imagination, but I love the smaller berries on here. Now, this is also round, but a different texture, more kind of snowball-y, and I thought this would be really great. And then we have a completely different texture and fabric here with this velvet little curly Q. I just think these are great. When you're placing your sprays, you just want to alternate them and just stick them straight down into the tree. Now I'm working with a 9-foot tree here, so it's a little bit tricky when you're only 5'4", if I stretch the truth just a little bit. So I'm just placing these straight down. I'm gonna alternate them up, but not like that. I'm just gonna be alternating them and creating the different texture that I'm going for. I think I want this a little bit higher. And now remember, you can always move these around and adjust them. I want to make sure the balls are facing out and the stem is facing inward because the balls are the part we want to see. We don't want to see the ugly stem. I'm going to repeat that on this side as well as on the back side. Alrighty. There. Let's put this up just a little bit higher. And we're going to put this right here. The next step that you want to do is to add your ribbon. Now, I personally like to use 2 different ribbons, one as your main ribbon and another one as an accent. You do want to make sure that they're wired. And the ribbon is all about the loops and tails. Now, with using 2 ribbon, I like to just layer them on top of each other, drop the rolls, don't even worry about it, and don't be afraid to cut your ribbon. To start off with, I like to go ahead and fold my ribbon, and I'm going to trim from the corner up towards that center, and that's going to give me that dovetail, fishtail, whatever you want to call it. It just gives me that really pretty finished ribbon end. To start off with, I like to actually do a 2-loop ribbon, which basically, let's just be honest, it's just a bow. So start with your tail, pinch it, do 1 loop, twist it. You're going to create another loop. Now this is 4-inch ribbon, so it's a little bit harder for me to hold, but it's going to get the job done. Kind of make sure that your little loops are about the same size. You can twist it down. Now, If you're going to attach this directly to your tree and use your tree to hold it, you can just go in just like this, find an area that you can wrap the tree around that center of your bow and go on. Now, if you don't have a way to attach it directly to your tree, again, use some wire or some pipe cleaner to do it. It'll get the job done. So in the center of my tree back here, it's hard to see, but these are my wiry branches, and it will be perfect to come back in here with my bow, loop that right around my ribbon. Now, because this is wired, I'm able to then manipulate it however I want it, puff up that bow just a little bit, and then I can start working on my tails. Now with my tails, I like to add in some little swags, bubbles, loops, whatever you want to call them. And you're gonna work kind of in a zigzag direction. Again, grabbing part of the tree, looping it around. You know what, I want that to be a little bit bigger. That was too little for this big, gigantic tree. We're gonna come in here, grab part of the tree, loop it around, and then I'm gonna do one more of these coming down, and then I'm gonna cut my ribbon again. So come down, right there, loop around. Now that I've done the 2 loops, it's time to go ahead and cut the ribbon. So again, I'm gonna fold it. I'm gonna go from the outside towards that center, get that nice sharp little dovetail, fishtail, and then lay this however I want it to be. And I like to have the underneath ribbon stick out just a little bit from that top ribbon. And then there is your very first loop and tail. And you're gonna repeat this with single loops, sometimes just tails. Okay, so let me show that to you again. You're gonna take your ribbon, make sure you have your end trimmed. You can stack them on top of each other, decide how long you want your tail to be. And then you're going to create your first loop, and then you're going to twist your ribbon. You just need to give it one twist, hold it together with your thumb and finger. You're gonna create your second loop, creating your 2 loop bow. Again, you're going to twist that one time so that the ribbon will have its tail so it comes straight down when you put it into the tree. So you're gonna hold all of this together and then use the branch of the tree to secure it, or you can again use wire or a pipe cleaner to keep it together. If this is really hard for you to hold, go ahead and add a pipe cleaner right around it, whether it's a white one or a red one, whatever one would match the color of your ribbon, and then you can secure this. Okay, with this next one, I'm gonna do just one single loop. So I'm gonna start again with a tail, fold it over for that loop, gather it together. That's all you have to do. Maybe just a little twist so that when it goes down the tree, these are on the outside. The ribbon outside is on the outside and not hiding like this on the backside. I hope that makes some sense. I'm also gonna have the tail coming down this time as well, because I want this to look different than the original bow that I put up there. So I'm gonna put one loop right here. The first tail is gonna come off to the side. And then I can decide how many of these little swags I wanna add in here. And I think this time I might just do, I don't know. Let's see what we should do. So you don't always have to do a loop. So here I went ahead, I started with a tail, connected it to the tree. I'm gonna do one of those little billows. I'm gonna add it back here again, connect it using the branch of the tree. And then I'm gonna go ahead and trim it off, and we're just gonna have one single little billow. Whoops, almost cut it the wrong way. I'm gonna go outside, inside. And that is how we get our little dovetail. Now, if you have like an area that is small, but you want to still fill it, or you have some scrap ribbon and you don't want to waste it, here's another idea for you. Go ahead and take your 2 pieces of ribbon, make sure your ends are finished, gather it up in the center. So this time you're just going to have the 2 tails. You're going to tuck it in, wrap that tree around, and then adjust your ribbon however you want to. And now you have that area filled and you're not wasting any of your ribbon either. Now, the one caveat to adding your ribbon first would be if you are trying to have something be more of the centerpiece on your tree, like I have here with the snowman and the snow, plus the couple of snowflakes I've added, I want to put those on first and then work the ribbon around these items. Alrighty, hair is up because this means we are doing some serious work, and let me know, are you somebody that has to be all glammed up when you decorate, or messy bun and get it done? Anyway, the next thing we're gonna do is add our sprays throughout the tree. This will help fill it out. Now, if you don't want to use any sprays, you didn't use them at the top, you're not going to use them in the tree, you can skip that step. But if you are going to use some sprays, you want to use some of the exact same sprays that you used on the top. So I am repeating some of the same sprays. All you're simply going to do is take your spray and you're just going to stick it straight into the tree. You do want it to stick out a little bit because that is what's adding that texture and dimension into your tree. So as you can see, I'm grouping all 3 of these in the same area. Even though I'm not stacking them on top of each other, I'm keeping them all together, and that adds a little bit more of that repetitive pattern that we had at the top. Another idea when you're adding some sprays is to use the same texture that you've already used. So this matches those curly cues, but then it's still round like those other sprays that we used. But instead of just putting these in individually, I am going to add them in with a poinsettia, and that way we kind of bulk it up a little bit. So another pairing is that you can stick with the same color, but a completely different texture, and then add it with something else. This time I'm going in with a different greenery. These are all from Hobby Lobby, but you can grab whatever sprays you already have at home. You can go to Walmart, anywhere that you can get sprays. Just find ones that go with your style and decor. If you are doing a grouping like this, you can also take your stems and wrap them around, or take one of them and wrap it around the other, and that will keep them together when you go to just pop them right into your tree. I know you're probably wondering, how much of all these items are you going to need? That is the number one question that I get, and it really depends on the size of your tree. I told you earlier, this is a 9-foot tree. For a 9-foot tree, you're going to want about 30 to 40 yards of ribbon. Now, because I personally doubled my ribbon, I need 30 to 40 yards of each of the ribbons. Now, for your sprays, at the very top, I have a minimum of 3 of each sprays, for a minimum of 3 different sprays. That's what I like to do. And then an odd number going throughout the tree. So for a tree this big, you're going to want maybe 5 up to 9 spray of one single spray, and about 3 to 5 different sprays going throughout your tree, if that is a look that you really like. Now, I've done plenty of trees that I don't even use sprays at all. So it really depends on what you're doing with that tree and what your overall look and vision is. Now, if you're working with a tree that's only, let's say, 7 feet tall and a normal circumference, so not a real skinny tree, you're going to want somewhere between 20 to 30 yards of ribbon. And again, for your sprays, you probably want 5 to 7. For a skinny 7-foot tree, you only need about 10 yards of ribbon. That's what I used when I did my little Santa tree, and it was perfect. The very last thing that you want to do is add your ornaments. Now, when it comes to ornaments, I always like to start big and then I work my way down. Now, this tree, I do have a few of these round ornaments that I want to add, but this is also the tree that we add our family ornaments to. And those are the ones that I'm going to come in actually last and nestle them into different places that still have some holes. So again, you can do these steps, no matter what style of tree you have. With the larger ornaments, I just like to tuck them into the back. Again, by adding some ornaments towards the back and some towards the front, you're adding different texture and dimension. And so I don't even worry about any hangers. I just come straight on through and pop it in. Now, when you have a big gap like this, that's when these little hanging hooks come in really handy. You can come through and hang on this top part and then still fill in the gap. You're just going to keep layering in your ornaments until you get the fullness and the look that you're going for. Another tip is as you're decorating your tree, make sure that you step back repeatedly and check areas that might need to be filled in. Maybe you have too much of one color in an area. Just constantly take a look from a further distance. Now, I would say I'm pretty happy with this tree, except for actually the very top of the tree right up here. I feel like those red picks are just a little too deep of a red for the top of the tree, and we need to lighten it up. So I'm going to switch those out for these red ones that I have here, and I bet it's going to make all the difference. Okay, that looks so much better. Now remember, you don't have to use all of these things. You can decide which is most important to you. If ribbon is what you want to accent, then use the ribbon. If it's sprays, go with sprays. If it's ornaments, go with ornaments. This is just the steps that you take as you're adding and layering each one of these so that you get the tree of your dreams. Thank you so much for spending your time with me. I hope I've given you some helpful hints, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
It's cold outside, but the fire keeps us warm. We can spend the night underneath the mistletoe. And I've gotten you a present that I put under the tree. Tomorrow it is Christmas, the first for you and me. The snow is falling down, the storm is on its way, but as long as you're around, everything will be okay. 'Cause all I wanna do is spend this holiday with you. Tomorrow it is Christmas, the